Promise that you sing about me forever. Promise that you sing about me forever. Promise that you sing about me forever.
Talk about it. If you really believe and gotta talk about it. You heard about what happens when you talk about it.
Yes, let's talk about it. Like J. Cole said, let's talk about it. Now, have you been to my website, viecine.com? I do daily blogs and weekly vlogs, like the one I'm doing right now. And my vlogs are bomb.
If I do say so myself.
So please check them out at www.vieisme.com. www.vieisme.com. Also, if you don't know, I am in the process of self-publishing my very first book. I am getting my life by telling my life. I am exposing abuse and trauma. I know it affects many, many people across racial lines, economic lines, generations, and I took a stand to expose my truth and hoping that it will help others share their truth. So it's kind of like a passive forward type of deal, a journey into finding yourself. So definitely check out the content I have on my website. I want you to be just as involved as I am and make this a community thing. So definitely check it out. And if you do like my content, please share as always. And if you want to support me getting my book out there faster, definitely drop a donations. And don't forget to subscribe. All right. So this video is going to be about Bobby Shmurda. I really wanted to make a video about this, but I didn't have the time to gather all my thoughts. And I also didn't have the time to investigate as much as I wanted to. I honestly still ain't got the time, but I will share my opinions and I'll piece together what I'm trying to say. So stick with me and hopefully you enjoy this video. So this video is called The Downfall of the Real Niggatry Lifestyle, an examination of Bobby Shmurda. Now, we know Bobby Shmurda from 2014 with that hot song called Hot Niggas. And he came out with the Shmurda dance and he threw his hat in the video and it disappeared and everybody was shocked like, oh my God, it stayed up in the air. Ooh. And everybody wanted to do their little Shmurda dance, which I always believed it was like a ripoff of Compa, but you know, hey, it is what it is. And everybody wanted to do it. White boys, white girls, Asians, old, rich, whatever, celebrities. Everybody wanted to do their version of the Shmurda dance and they wanted to put it out there. They wanted to go viral because it was that thing to do. And Bobby Shmurda blew up. He was all over the place. He was in the boardroom dancing and cooing out and minstrelling in front of white folks, Interscope executives, and he was on tables and showing how gangster and how he could pull triggers, and he was always covering his mouth like he knew he was up to no good, but you will never know truly because he's covering his mouth, and he was just that young blood, that gangsterism, that hard body, and he was just that dude. And everybody knew he was gonna blow up. He was gonna be on some future 2 Chainz, Lil Wayne, trap god type of vibe. And the future was set for Bobby Shmurda. He got signed to Interscope. Everything was looking bright. Until he got charged and his GS9 crew got charged with several charges. And if you are from New York or if you're not from New York, but you know how New York is, this is New York who has stop and frisk. Randomly, I could stop you and search you. If you did that and someone was driving and the person didn't give you permission, that would be a violation of that person's right. They could say you need a warrant, but I guess in New York, your persons doesn't matter, especially if you're black, because we all did see how Eric Garner got murdered in New York, and we know New York is like racism in the South, but up north, and we see how things go, and gun charges and charges in general, especially when it's involving black people, are severely harsh, and you see a lot of gentrification going on with, let's say, Brooklyn and the Bronx and Queens and just typical historic black neighborhoods like Harlem are being gentrified by the minute, and black people are being pushed out the cities. But that really doesn't have to do anything with Bobby Shmurda. I just wanted to give you a little background information. So the GS9 group got charged, and specifically two members got sentences that would blow your mind. You would think that they robbed banks. You would think that they were terrorists. You would think that they were mass murdering and mass raping people. When actuality, Bobby Shmurda name dropped crimes and name dropped people in his song Hot Boys. And if you don't know, back in the early 2000s, it was this whole thing about hip hop police. You really can't trust them because they're undercover. They may be in your crew. They may be watching you. You just don't know, but they're there. And I guess people started feeling themselves, or people really thought that these other rappers, the yappers of yesteryear, who were on some NWA tip or was just on some gully stuff, but really didn't live that life. These generation of rappers wanted to prove that you may have not lived that life, but I am. So I'm going to prove that I'm just as worthy to be on the platform that you used to occupy. And that's how you get the Bobby Shmurdas of the world. The first member of the GS9 crew to be sentenced was Rashad Rasha Derzerant. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but hey, it is what it is. And he was sentenced to 98 and 1/3 years of life. And you would think that this guy was just fucking up the whole world to get 98 years. And to throw in 1/3 year is like, what was that for? Like, this man is basically never going to get out. This man is younger than me. So he will never have the opportunity to change his life. He will never get the opportunity to get married. He will never get the opportunity to basically live his life. He basically will live his life in prison. He will know what it's like to be in prison than he does in the outside world. And those are the decisions that they made. I mean, they talked about selling drugs, they talked about murder, and that's what they actually are being charged with. Bobby Shmurda was charged with gun possession, and Bobby Shmurda was also charged with conspiracy, and a lot of these other people were charged with conspiracy. And I guess there was enough evidence. I don't know if it's because they did some CSI type of forensic, or it's because Bobby Shmurda name dropped and whatnot, but they had enough of what they needed and they got convicted. And it's sad. It's sad. But at the end of the day, that's the life you chose. I'm not only going at Rasha and I'm not only going at Bobby Shmurda. I'm going off on everybody. Everybody that made this shit cool. Everybody who made that gangsterism cool. Everybody who made that thug life cool. Everybody who perpetrated that fraud and that lie to be cool. Everybody has a hand in this. The next person to be sentenced was A-Rod, and he was given 53 and 2/3 years of prison. And A-Rod may come out, but by the time he comes out, I mean, he's going to be an old man. What life will you have? What would you know? Technology is always rapid and always changing. By that time, cell phones will probably be extinct. And like I said, that niggatry lifestyle is appealing because it's glitz and it's glamour. It's behind camera. There's jewelry. There's bad bitches. There's smoke and mirrors. But these people who rap this shit don't live that shit. Rick Ross, the biggest boss thus far, he was a correctional officer. NWA, they were in the hood, but they weren't really about that life. Somewhere between late 80s and early 90s, the record execs kind of figured, won't we glamorize this shit? People who lived in the hood and did dirt, they weren't bragging about it because bragging about it meant attention. And if you're doing illegal activities, you don't want attention to be brought onto you. Why? Because attention will get you 98 years. That's why. But this generation, it's like if it's not on camera, if you don't brag about it, then it never happened. Everybody wants that attention. Everybody wants that exposure. Everybody wants likes and hearts and whatnot. And that's the downfall of it all. Whether Bobby Shmurda and GS9 did commit the crimes or didn't commit the crimes, it doesn't even matter at this point because you're being charged. And you will be convicted, especially in a state like New York that loves convicting black men, who love throwing black men into the system. Now, a lot of people are coming out and saying Bobby Shmurda and GS9 is stupid and why they did that, and they're clowning them. But y'all will be the same ones who'll be like, this is real nigga shit. This is real shit. This is hood shit. This is gangster shit. This is thug life. This is cool. This is what you should want to be like. This is what you should want to aspire to be. And that's what they did. While these former rappers or these rappers who had the spotlight on them in their heyday, they didn't live that life. They had friends who lived that life. You have, what was it, 2 Chainz, who was on the honor roll? And this dude talking about he used to talk to a stove. People could perpetrate that image. Get a couple of tattoos. Today's the dreads. Get the dreads. Get the tattoos. Get the jewelry. Get the bad bitches. It's not hard to perpetrate today. It really isn't, especially when you gotta flex. Flexing is the thing to be. You got waist trainers. You got drawn tattoos. You got fake money you could buy off the internet. So it's not hard to perpetrate a fraud. You see this generation, you gotta be about it. You gotta show it. You gotta live it. And now they're going down for it. And a lot of people want to now give out their little moral of the story is Slick Rick children's story, which I feel like Slick Rick should have pulled Bobby Shmurda to the side and said, like, look, don't. Listen to this track. Don't be about that life. Be something more respectable. Achieve more with your life. You're young. Don't go down this path. But again, like I said, to be a real nigga, to really be about that life, to get that real status in this generation, you have to actually commit these crimes. Whereas other rappers of yesteryear, they just could lie about it. Or they could have friends and family who lived that life and they could talk from a second or third person experience. And I see a lot of rappers today when they're getting, now that they're middle age, and I don't necessarily would say that they're having a midlife crisis, but now they're old enough to see that their lyrics are impactful and that the little shorties that they were spitting to are now grown or almost grown. Now they want to go and give after school specials, and they want to give redemption songs, and they want to be somewhat of a parent or somewhat of someone you can look up to, but they still want to be appealing to be on that OG status. That's why you have dudes in their 40s rapping like dudes in their 20s. When they're married and they have kids and they have stocks and bonds and they have not been in that life, they have more life experience not being in that life than actually being in that life. But because they want to be still trendy and because they want to be still that dude and still have that spotlight, they haven't switched up their flow. They haven't matured. And this kind of sidesteps into Big Boy. I guess over a couple of days ago, Big Boy kind of made a comment on how black mothers of today are not like black mothers of yesteryear. He had an image of some woman who felt the need to show her ass in front of her kids, and it turned into a meme. And Florida Evans from Good Times, and a lot of people were attacking him. And I'm not necessarily saying what Big Boy said was wrong, because I do see a lot of mothers today are unfit. However, I like to say, who raised those unfit mothers to have children? Like, I love how people look at my generation and talk shit about my generation as if we just fell out the sky, as if we were not raised by the former generations. And I'm just like, if you don't like how we turned out, then I guess you did a poor job now, did you? And like I said, I don't necessarily disagree with what Big Boy said. However, let's not pretend like every single song Big Boy have ever dropped was positive and enlightening and encouraging black women. Let's not act like Big Boy did not contribute to these women being ratchet and these women being attention whores and these women being so sexually objectifying to themselves. Let's not front on that. I love how former generations love to point fingers, but they don't see that how they contribute to this cesspool of dysfunction. I see 50 Cent going off and always has something to say about black women or popping off at black people. But 50 Cent, it wasn't that long ago when he was singing the hook to PIMP. it wasn't that far ago. It wasn't too long ago where 50 Cent was spitting about bitches and hoes and bitches and hoes. But now that I guess he's older now, and his son that he doesn't really want to claim anymore, that looks exactly like him, is grown now, all of a sudden he wants to change his position. And I'm like, you don't understand the words that you use in your image and how impactful it could be, especially when it comes to my generation who are either young adults or they're becoming young adults. Like, you see a lot of these people, especially with social media. The great thing about social media is that you can instantly interact with people, but also social media exposes the real about a person. Your celebrity that you had your little image of, you can follow them on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, and you realize, oh, they're human just like everybody else, and they're flawed like everybody else. And that image of them being pristine because that's what you thought is not actually it. I mean, how many rappers and entertainers we see who have meltdowns and have bipolar flare-ups and who are always going in on users and followers? We know these people. We know Game is quick to snatch you all the way bald. We know Chris Brown is quick to put everybody on blast and then come back a couple hours later talking about, I'm still changing, I go through things, God ain't finished with me yet. And these are the people who influenced my generation, or they are a byproduct of people who now they call comrades, who they idolized. And like I said, this nigga shit is coming back to bite you in the ass. I remember when NWA, the movie, came out, and I feel some type of way about it because I'm not gonna lie and say I've never listened to an NWA record. However, I can't fake the funk and act like what they did was uplifting and they went against the grain and yada yada yada. The shit that they produced was that just shit.
And shit, man. We kissing and grinding and shit.
Have you ever listened to songs like Automobile?
My dick in front like she gonna give me the pussy,
Dope
man.
Man.
And the bitch said 3 words, man.
Like,
Stop,
these songs
no,
were
and
not
don't.
uplifting. You may have expressed yourself, but that was like one out of how many other songs that were just filthy. And because they came out and they glamorized the hood and that hood shit, that became the model, that became the prototype, and now everybody, if you wanted to take it seriously, you gotta be that hood shit or fake the funk. And that's the downfall of Niggatry. You have other artists who fell down, maybe not on a spotlight like Bobby Shmurda, but there have been come-up rappers who fell into the trap of bragging about the crimes that they've done, trying to live that real nigga lifestyle, and they got caught up. Before there was Bobby Shmurda, there was a news story about a rapper who put all his business out on the track, and he got caught for a crime. I think he committed murder. So part of me kind of feels like, man, they caught Bobby Shmurda. Like, he's really young. He had great potential. But ultimately, like Malcolm said, the chickens come home to roost, and it's come to bite you in the ass. And the same people who were shmutty dancing, and the same people who, but a week ago, the same people who were vibing out to it, the same people who were like, oh, he's the next Jew in the scope, all those people who were pumping and lifting him up deserted him. And just like Tupac said, when you go through rough times, it's only going to be your mama who's going to be there for you. All those people, all those celebrities he probably had connects with, they were going to write an album together, have a future together, parties. None of them are putting money on his book. None of them are paying his lawyer fees. None of them are going to see him. And it's like that. When you hot, everybody wants to be around you. When you cold, no one wants to be around you. So I think Bobby Shmurda is going to beat this case. It depends. Part of me is like, no, because everybody else is getting these life sentences. So, no. But part of me kind of feels like because he's somewhat of a celebrity and he's somewhat in the news and people are somewhat interested in his case, he may get years. He may serve between 5 to 20 years, but it's not going to be as harsh as his comrades. But do I think he's going to get a slap on the wrist and be, oh, you can go free? No. Who is he? Nelson Mandela didn't get a slap on the wrist. Why would Bobby Shmurda get a slap on the wrist? So this is the downfall of living that niggatry lifestyle. This is the downfall of pumping all those decades of detrimental, dysfunctional bullshit. This is the outcome. This generation is mirroring that lifestyle, mirroring that media, the music, the movies, the television show. We are a byproduct of all of that. And I love seeing the older generations, especially the ones in entertainment, criticize my generation and look down on my generation and act like they have no idea why we turned out the way we did. And I'm like, nigga, stop. Because you helped shaped the way we are today. Let's not front. You may have not been our dads or our moms, but trust and believe me, you influenced this. And I've always said, I find it weird that you 30 something and you're 40 something, but your fan base are 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-year old. People you could not be intimate with are your fan base. And I'm not trying to say that we should allow pedophilia, but I'm just saying, if you can't even have a mature conversation, you can't even date your fan base, then why are you there your fan base? If you're not even on the same path in life, they're going into what, middle school, high school, and you got kids. You might even have grandkids. And why are these your fan base? Why are you trying to feed into young kids who are impressionable? Hence why they're trying to live that nigga lifestyle that you fronted on. And now you want to sit there and be like, I have no idea why these kids are the way they are. I just don't know. I guess they need Jesus. I guess they need Ayana to fix their lives. And I'm like, the chicken come home to roost. And I guess Bobby Shmurda is going to be that sacrificial lamb, and the GS9 is going to be that sacrificial lamb. But tell me what you think in the comments below. Am I right with this video? Do you agree with me? Do you feel like a lot of the other generation don't want to take accountability, or at least acknowledge that they had a hand in my generation or our generation being the way it is? How do you feel about Bobby Shmurda? Do you think he's going to get off? Do you think those sentences that Rasha and A-Rod got were harsh? Let me know in the comments below. Comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Share this video with whomever you share cool, interesting, fun, enlightening things. And as always, be blessed, and I'm out.